Pleasant good afternoon, Brother Boris. How are you, sir? Good, good, good. I see you're sharing love, man. That's good. That's good. So let me say a pleasant good afternoon to the Synergy family. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you again. So pleasant good evening to all, good afternoon rather to our Synergy family. And Mr. Boris, they're speaking about love, and I often tell persons, from the beginning of the year, even last year, a lot of persons were given specific salutations as regards to having a bright and prosperous new year, and you can't have that unless you have good health. Now, at Batson and Associates, we have an integrative diabetic clinic. And just recently I was speaking to someone and I was asking them, when you look at the numbers as it relates to diabetics in Trinidad and Tobago, it is said that 1/3 of our population is diabetic. And it means if we're saying that we are about maybe 1.7 million people, it means you're looking at in excess of 500,000 persons being diabetic. Even the younger children, as it were, because we have a lot of adolescent diabetic individuals. Now, the topic that I was going to discuss today is actually issues associated with thyroid health as it relates to endocrinology. So endocrinologists are, of course, doctors and specialists who are trained to deal with the endocrine system. Now, I practice what is known as integrative endocrinology, where I'm actually able to give consultation advice to persons who may have endocrine problems. So thyroid problem is one of the main or one of the leading endocrine issues that we have right now. So you have a lot of persons who have serious thyroid issues, either hypothyroidism, which is low thyroid function. Some persons have hyperthyroidism, which is an overactive thyroid. Now, why that is important, why is that crucial, why is that critical? It is because of what the thyroid really does as it relates to your health. So your thyroid plays a significant role in a number of functions in the body. Actually, one of the functions of the thyroid is it actually regulates blood calcium, because what your thyroid does, it actually controls the amount of calcium that leaves your bone to actually get into your bloodstream, and that is to maintain some level of alkalinity in the blood, because human blood is slightly alkaline, which is about 7.3 on the pH scale. And one of the things that the thyroid does is actually modulate that by controlling how much thyroid leaves the bone, or how much calcium, sorry, leaves the bone. My apologies. So it means that if someone has a hyperthyroidism issue, so it means the thyroid is overactive, it means the thyroid is actually going to be pulling more calcium from the bone, which is medically referred to as hypocalcemia, which is excessive or higher levels of calcium in the blood. Now, that could cause a lot of problems, including things like osteopenia. It could also cause osteoporosis and even osteoarthritis, because your bones are primarily comprised of calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus in the form of calcium phosphate. Good. So that's one of the problems that you could have. But it could actually go the other way, where you actually have hypothyroidism, where you're not getting enough calcium being taken out from the bones, and that in itself is going to cause a problem, where you could now end up with situations like lactic acidosis, where the body becomes more acidic, and as a result of that, it now creates an environment conducive to inflammatory response. Good. So that was actually one of the questions that we were asked. We are live on our social media. We are Batson and Associates Limited on Facebook. You could always get information there on us, as well as our TikTok. We are Batson and Associates on TikTok, and all the relevant information will be there. We also have our contact number below the screen there. But that thyroid question was a question that was actually sent in on the former program that we did. Someone actually asked that question about thyroid health. So yes, we do address thyroid health at Batson Associates. We do work with endocrinology. Also, persons who may have issues associated with thyroid nodules, because what you find now is a lot of women, as a result of being PMS, which is perimenopause. So that's our next issue that we deal with quite successfully, because that, of course, is an endocrine issue as well. Remember, the purpose of the endocrine system, which comprises thyroid, parathyroid, pituitary, your adrenals, that is responsible for the production of what? Hormones. Good. So when women experiencing PMS situations, or what is referred to as perimenopause, or you could even go further as perimenopause, which is before menopause, menopause, which is actually when you're going through menopause, and postmenopause, which is subsequent to menopause, you find that a lot of women have various challenges that they experience. For example, you find insomnia is something that could be serious. So you find a lot of women at that menopause situation could have really bad issues associated because of the hormonal imbalance in the body. They could actually have problems associated with serious hormonal imbalance as a result of that. Insomnia problems. They can also have serious problems associated with panic attacks. So you now have a central nervous system response where you are actually suffering from panic attacks, depression, or anxiety. Now, if you ever experience any of these symptomology, anxiety, depression, insomnia, you would realize that if you have all of those problems at once, then you're going to be in serious issue where you could actually end up with serious nervous breakdown issues. And of course, later on, you could end up with things like bipolar, schizophrenia, or other mental disorders or mental issues as a result of the neurological imbalance that take place in the body during menopause or even after menopause. So that's something to also pay very close attention to. And we do address that as well at Batson and Associates. So the telephone number, the WhatsApp is there. You can WhatsApp us on 314-9975 and actually come in and have a consultation or that entire test package that we have. One of the other issues as well, so we touched on thyroid problems. So whether it's hypothyroidism, which is referred to as low thyroid function, or hyperthyroidism, that is also addressed as well. The thyroid nodules situation, and if you do not know what thyroid nodules are, in the thyroid itself, if an ultrasound of the thyroid is done, or maybe an MRI or even a CT, they would actually be able to identify where in the thyroid the nodules are, the size of the nodules, that type of thing. That could actually become problematic because a lot of these nodules would actually now interfere with the functionality of the thyroid. It could also interfere with your various hormones like your TSH, which is the thyroid stimulating hormone. It can also interfere with your T3 and your T4, which are also markers that are used in determining thyroid health. So that is something that we do address as well at Batson and Associates. So you can, of course, feel free to give us a call or visit. And as it relates to diabetes, the diabetes situation, so let me just touch a bit on the work that we do at the Integrative Diabetic Center. So we know by now what is diabetes. Diabetes essentially is a situation where you have elevated blood glucose levels. Now, why is that a serious situation? It is serious because glucose, which is the simplest form of sugar, has no right to be in your bloodstream for extended periods of time. I'll repeat that. So high levels of glucose, which is the simplest form of sugar, has no reason or no right to be in your bloodstream for extended periods of time. Why? Glucose is supposed to be stored in cells, and later on, or when the body is ready to utilize glucose for energy, is when your body is actually supposed to actually almost go into those cells and utilize the glucose. So glucose is supposed to be stored in cells. It is not supposed to be lying around in your bloodstream. For a number of reasons. Glucose is very oxidative, it's very reactive, which is why you find persons with diabetes usually have serious issues. So they have problems with their eyes because their pulmonary circulation, which is circulation above the heart, is significantly compromised. They can also have serious problems with venous ulcers and various issues associated with poor circulation, especially systemic circulation, which is below your heart. So you find the reason why complication associated with diabetes is so broad is because of the damage that the high levels of glucose will actually do in the bloodstream. Because what it does, it actually strips or damages the lining of your blood vessels. So that's why you find someone who is diabetic, you may be diabetic and you may be using insulin. So you are type 1 diabetic. But what we see now at our Integrative Diabetic Center, and as a diabetic specialist for over 15 years, one of the things that I have always seen with diabetic individuals is that you progressively get worse if you do not address certain things in the body. What do I mean? You have to take into consideration and understand that diabetes is like you are a block of ice in the sun. Basically, you are melting away, right? It can reach the point where it becomes very chronic. It can become very debilitating. And if you are on insulin or even on insulin and medication, it makes it even worse because of the excessive highs and lows. Because remember, when you're taking insulin, you're going to have a situation where your blood sugar could go excessively low, especially in the night. That is medically referred to as hypoglycemia. The prefix hypo meaning low and glycemia meaning sugar. So in an instance like that, you have a situation where your blood sugar has gone significantly low. But then you have a situation where the blood sugar again goes significantly high. So because of that consistent up and down, extreme highs and extreme low, you actually cause significant damage to your cardiovascular, your circulatory system, especially what is known as the peripheral circulatory system, which is why you find diabetics often as well have serious problems with neuropathy. So you might often complain of things like pins and needles, cramping in your calves, burning under your feet. You may complain. Some people feel it differently. You feel as if you're wearing socks. You feel as if you're walking in sand. You're feeling as if things walking on you, and a number of different expressions that people would manifest based, or symptomology that they would manifest, and they translate that in different ways. So somebody might say it feels like sand on your foot. Somebody might say it feels as if things walking on you. Some people use the term junjuni. Some people, but in all instances, what it really is as a result of significantly poor circulation, you now have a neuropathy issue. Now, if you look at our TikTok, there's actually a short video of myself doing what is known as a live nutritional blood cell analysis. And that's one of the things we do at Batson and Associates, because blood, of course, is the greatest witness, which is why it is the most tested serum in medicine. Blood antigen, if you want to know what is going on with your prostate, you have to do a PSA, which is an acronym for prostatic specific antigen. If we determine inflammatory response in the body, which we actually able to see from the base level in a blood analysis. So you can always call and get that information as regards to the integrative or holistic packaging or assessment that we use as regards to really bringing about change in the body. Because you have to understand that if you are sick, regardless of the type of sickness that you're speaking about, so we're talking about diabetes, but you could have a problem with your gastrointestinal system. So you could suffer from acid reflux. You could have problems with GERD, which is gastrointestinal reflux disease. You could have inflammatory bowel conditions. So you might have what is referred to as ulcerative colitis. You may have Crohn's disease. You may have irritable bowel syndrome, or what is the acronym IBS. And these are all inflammatory bowel conditions. You may have a challenge with your lungs. So you might be diagnosed as being asthmatic. What does that really mean? You know, I was doing an interview recently on Tobago Channel 5 because we did some work in Tobago recently. And of course, we would be doing work in Tobago coming up the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th of February. And that office is, of course, at the Triangle Building in Scarborough, Tobago. But interestingly, one of the things that we were actually looking at is in that video, and you can always follow us on our TikTok. We are Batson and Associates Limited. And one of the things I highlighted in that sample is, which is what we do at Batson and Associates, this particular blood sample had a lot of what is known as erythrocyte aggregation. So erythrocytes are red blood cells. Aggregate comes from the word sticking together or bundling together. Now, the thing is, if you have high levels of erythrocyte aggregation, it means you have essentially poor circulation. You have a compromised circulatory system, which could lead to a number of things, from myocardial infarctions, which are the medical terms for heart attack, to even strokes, whether it's ischemic stroke or hemorrhagic strokes, because you have different types of stroke. Or you may have problems with vertigo. So you're having problems with blurred vision, you're having problems with dizziness. All those are indication of poor circulation where? Yeah, in the cerebral hemisphere. Your pulmonary circulation, even pulmonary hypertension. There are a lot of people walking around who are hypertensive, but you don't know the type of hypertension that you have. Does that matter? Of course it does. Because if you have pulmonary hypertension, or if you have secondary hypertension, which is hypertension caused by a primary reason, And quite frankly, everything has a secondary everything, because there is always a primary or a root cause as to why you have diabetes in the first place. So, of course, feel free to give us a call or visit. Our telephone number is below there. That is actually a WhatsApp number, so you can message or call, and someone will return your call for the Integrative Diabetic Clinic. As I said, even though we touched on diabetes, we also touched on thyroid health. You know, a lot of individuals having problems with their thyroid. You even have what is referred to as Hashimoto's thyroid, which we have dealt with quite successfully. Because again, with integrative medicine, which is a complement, especially as it relates to internal medicine, it now gives you the opportunity to determine root cause. And that, of course, is one of the things that we do at Batson Associates. So feel free to give us a call or visit those locations. Quickly located on the first floor of Money Talks building in Montrose, Chaguanas. We also at Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James. Davie is the corner of Ramsey Mooch Trace and the SS Erin Main Road in Davie. And of course, Tobago, keep in mind those days, the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th of February. And that's at the Triangle building in Scarborough, Tobago. One of the things too, of course, quickly before we come finish, as we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Brother Boris, sir? Thank you. Thank you very much. Mhm. Right, definitely. Yes, sir. Definitely. Amen. Greatly appreciated, sir. Take care. Great, guys. Good, good. So I know we are actually live on our Facebook. We are live on Batson and Associates Limited on Facebook. That was an interview I was just doing there with Mr. Harvey Boris there on the hot seat. And of course, we were discussing diabetes. We touched a bit on thyroid. My Facebook family, I have not forgotten you, believe me. It's just that our workload has significantly increased based on, you know, the amount of work that we're doing. So as usual, you know, we have a lot of new things coming up for you guys. Our clinic there in Tobago, again, doing a lot of work. We had some really good feedback from our Tobago clients, you know, persons with things like polycystic ovaries, fibroids, ovarian cysts, endometriosis. That continues to be a leading cause of issue in Tobago, especially as it relates to infertility. One of the things we were also able to focus on a lot is hypertension, high blood pressure. You know, a lot of individuals having that challenge with hypertension. And that, of course, is something that we deal quite successfully with at Batson and Associates. As it relates to our upcoming programs and the re-establishment, for want of a better expression, of those programs, of course, the Sunday night question and answer, as well as the Monday night female question and answer, which deals a lot with things like polycystic ovaries, fibroids, ovarian cysts, endometriosis, is, you know, really to be able to engage our clients as regards to that. So keep in mind those dates for the Tobago office. Of course, that is the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th of February. Batson and Associates, that office is at the Triangle building in Scarborough, Tobago. I could always put it here for you guys, where you would actually be able to see that telephone number. Let me get it for you. and you would be able to make the necessary appointments. There it is, actually below there. That office is located opposite Wassa Scarborough, and you can call 226-4553. That's 226-4553, as well as 312-4248. That's 312-4248. Good. In addition to that, I know some of you are waiting on our eye drop, that eye optics formula. Do bear with us. We are actually on back order for that. You know, the company had a lot of work, and you know, they had some little changes. Well, not changes, but they had some back orders, as I said, because you know that product is in demand. That is an in-demand product. We deal with a lot of individuals who have problems with things like cataract, glaucoma, problems with floaters, you know, problems with, you know, you may be working in an environment where you deal with chemicals. I've seen a lot of persons actually end up in situations with that as it relates to eye problems, you know, glaucoma as well. We do consultations for all of those. We do integrate it, and that's the difference. I mean, you all know me, I'm not in the politics of medicine, and that's something I always say. I don't have time for that. You know, it's a matter of helping people who want to be helped. And, you know, we have done so much good work. You know, we had a client who had really bad problems with their eyes, you know, to the point of almost blindness. And now they're much better. The pressure in the eye has gone down. It was actually like 29, 28, and we got it down. It is now 18, 19. Of course, we're still working. Those numbers are still too high, but we in the process of consistently working there and getting that down. In addition to that, women, as it relates to hormonal imbalance, we do have that uterine formula. So it's actually a cleanse for the uterus. So you may have problems as it relates to painful menstrual cycle, a big problem with a lot of women as well, a lot of problems with painful menstrual cycle, irregular menstrual cycle, a lot of issues with things like endometriosis or thickening of the uterine lining. Again, a clear indicator that something is wrong. So take advantage of our products, take advantage of our services, and those locations. You can have that executive package that we do, that holistic executive package. And the thing is, when you message us, we will actually be able to send that code for you, which actually gives you a complimentary service for free. Complimentary, right? So take advantage of that. We know it's Valentine, you know, love is in the air. You have somebody that you love or somebody that loves you, hopefully. And as a result of that, you know, you want good health. You know, I always tell persons, and that's how I actually coined that, what are you going to call it, term? If you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think, yeah. So if you think health is expensive, if you really think it's expensive to take care of you, get sick. Get sick. You know, I was dealing with someone recently and we were speaking about strokes. And one of the things that we spoke about is that strokes actually rear their head way before you actually get a stroke. A lot of the times when people get stroke, that's not the first stroke that they get. So one of the things, let me say, of course, a pleasant good afternoon to a lot of Miss Marge Hill's inflammation formula. We will get inflammation formula in stock, I would believe, in the next week. In the next week, we should have that in stock. Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to Miss Maureen Tull, Miss Cathy Samaru, Miss Marge Hills, Miss Patricia Patton, Miss Ruby Samaru, Ruth Vin Grampy, I'm seeing, and Miss Marge Hill. So always a pleasure to be in your company, guys. I know we haven't done Facebook Live for some time. We are also live on, you're very welcome, Miss Hills. We are live on our TikTok as well. We are Batson and Associates on TikTok. On Instagram, we are Batson and Associates TT. And on YouTube, we are Batson and Associates Trinidad. On Facebook, we are Batson and Associates Limited. So, you know the norm that you're supposed to do there. Follow us, like us. In addition, I know you guys missed me. Miss you guys too. But you know the work has to go on, and you know, helping so many individuals in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, and even the wider world as it relates to a number of issues. So if you have a health challenge, if you want an integrative consultation, even overseas, I mean, we have a lot of clients. So what we're doing as well is ensuring that we give you good service to and maintain that good service so that you could continue to be impressed, you could continue to get the results that you're looking for. Good. So again, keep in mind those locations. We do have an open, keep in mind our open clinic day. Open clinic day means that you do not necessarily have to have an appointment. It means that we are now in a situation where we can actually take you as a walk-in. If it is you are doing the tests, the scan, the blood, that entire holistic package, then you do not eat for 2 hours. And those offices, like tomorrow, please God, we actually have an open clinic day in St. James. St. James is Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James. We also have the Shogunas office. That is the first floor of Money Talks building in Montrose, Shogunas. And that telephone number for Shogunas, of course, is 2228261. Keep in mind Tobago. So those of you who are in Tobago, we have an open clinic day in Tobago, 26th, 27th, and 28th of February, right? And you can take advantage of that. That number for Tobago, you can call us on 226-4553. That's 226-4553, as well as 312-4248, and take advantage of that. That is February the 26th, 27th, and 28th. That location, Tobago, the Triangle Building in Scarborough, Tobago. You can also visit our office in Debe. Debe is the corner of Ramsonwood Trace and the SS Erie Main Road. We actually have an open clinic day. I have an open clinic day in that office on the 21st. That is Friday, 21st of February. And you could also look at the 8th of March as well. That's a Saturday. So take advantage of that. Take the telephone numbers, and whether your situation is diabetes and you want some improvement, you want to reduce your insulin levels, you want to ensure that you want to protect your eyesight, because one of the problems with diabetics, especially diabetics on insulin, your eyes are damaged very quickly. Very, very, very quickly. They deteriorate. Things like macular degeneration, things like glaucoma, things like detached retina are significantly increased when you are a diabetic because of that problem with the peripheral circulation, sorry, as well as your peripheral nervous system as well. So, you know, if you want to feel better, you may have issues with hypertension. We have some really good protocols for hypertension. You can also check out our Santulan, that 7-channel detox that cleans and detoxifies kidney, colon, bloodstream, liver, lymphatic system, skin, and your lungs. You can also check out our Nerve Restore, great product for sleep. Those of you who are stressed out, we also have Optimizer, really good product for eyesight. The Eye Optics formula, as I said, we're working on assiduously. We have a lot of clients for that eye drop that really helps in so many different issues. And again, of course, working assiduously to put certain things in place and continue to better our best. So, of course, we look forward to our next program. We're going to drop a live for you in a few. And, of course, check out our TikTok as well. We are Batson and Associates on TikTok. And, of course, that Shogunas, or that Tobago office rather, the 26th, 27th, and the 28th Tobago, take full advantage of that. And of course, that number for Tobago is 312-4248. That's 312-4248. That is in the Triangle Building opposite Wassa in Scarborough there. Good. The Shogunas office, we are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That is Money Talks building in Montrose, Shogunas, as well as Debe. Debe is the corner of Ramsonwood Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Debe. That telephone number for Debe, again, you can get that Debe number. That number, of course, is 223-7515. That's 223-7515. Good. As well as 341-4813. Again, 341-4813. Shogunas is the first floor of Money Talks building in Montrose, Shogunas. That telephone number, and you can look out for Shogunas days. You can look out for February the 19th as well as the 26th of February. So take advantage of that. That number for the Shogunas office is 222-8261. That's 222-8261. And the WhatsApp, of course, is 314-9975. Again, that's 314-9975. You have been listening to Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates. I just finished an interview on Synergy there with Mr. Harvey Boris on the hot seat. And of course, that information is there. So feel free to give us a call or visit. And as we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. God bless and do enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.